Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the call, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still the answer the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum Show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum Show.
Welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you real quick before we start the show, 20% off the Tatum store. Just put in SEAL 20 and get 20% off. All of my Tatum Squad members, you obviously get a better discount than 20% off. I think you get 30 and then subsequently 40, depending on what level you are on the Tatum Squad. So join Tatum Squad, get some merch on the store, and we are running through those doormats as fast as possible. And we're going to try to get it to you as soon as possible, and then we're going to open it up for more. I think we can only do about 200 at a time, and we got 2,000 people that want them. And if you're watching this and somehow you do laser engraving or you somehow can find a way to rapidly reproduce these carpets or these doormats, please let me know, because we want to work with you. Because I want to service everybody that want a carpet, but it's kind of difficult when we only have one machine to do it. All right, let's talk about the Donald Trump and Israel conflict. So let me just say this real quick. For those of you who missed it yesterday, Donald Trump got a pat on the back, which I think in part he deserved, because he negotiated or had a part in the negotiation of the ceasefire. And the reason I say a part, because he wasn't actually there, but in spirit he was there, because he told him, I'm going to bust yo if you don't get our people back. That's pretty much what he said. I'm interpreting it. I'm going to bust yo if you don't have our hostages back by the time I get in office. It reminds me of what my dad said, if you don't get them dishes washed by the time I get home, I'm get you. And I remember one time on that fateful day, I had my homeboys over and we talking and playing around, and I forgot to do the dishes like Daddy said. Daddy came out the room with that belt and said, hey, Nick, y'all got to go home. My homeboy Nick Forbes was my best friend, one of my best friends. Nick, y'all got to go home. Had the belt in his hand. I got toe up from the floor up. How many times did I ever do that again? Okay, that's what Donald Trump is standing for. He already did Soleimani in. They know what time of day it is. He said, when I come home on the 20th, you better have them hostages back or you're going to take that L, dog. Now, I don't 100% agree with this ceasefire action, in part. Why? Because they had to release terrorists in order to get back hostages, some of which are dead. So when I look at it, I say, I don't know if this was a net positive. Why do Israel, let me just say this real quick, and don't get mad at me if you're Israeli or you're a Jew and you somehow feel a connection to Israel even though you don't live there and never been there. I don't understand why Israel has historically been so weak. I do not understand. Like when I went to Israel and the tour guide was telling me all of the land and all of the stuff that the Israelis have given to the Palestinians, although they don't deserve it. All of the Gaza, and then they got terrorists in Gaza. Then they're trying to kill everybody in Israel. All of the stuff that they done. When are y'all gonna learn that like you can't keep playing with fire and think you're not gonna get burned? You literally got a homicidal maniac in your backyard and think he won't break in the house one day. That's what Gaza is. And for some reason they think we are going to acquiesce in part to let you bring back dead people and some hostages that have been traumatized and probably will never be the same in exchange for people that you want. No. That shouldn't work like that. You bring back what percentage of hostages have you brought back? Okay, the people that we said we're going to let out of jail, we'll bring a percentage of them back. So if we're going to let out 15, half of them going to get knocked off right here at the porch, and we'll give you the rest of them. It's crazy to me because all the terrorists have to do now is say, oh, we can go and dispense many of their people. We don't care about our people, clearly. Hamas don't care nothing about Gazans. They let them down the sword every day. They, instead of giving funding to the people, they building tunnels and underground and doing terrorist activity. So they don't care about the people or the women and children that y'all think Israel should care about. Hamas don't care about them. So they throw them on the sword every day in order to get some of their bad guys back. Because I heard Seth Leibson say this on the radio yesterday, that the person who orchestrated October 7th was released in one of these terrorist swaps. The man that orchestrated October the 7th, which he lost his life, that's on him. But he was the one that orchestrated this massive terrorist event. And he was a person who was already incarcerated by Israel, and they released him in a terror swap. Who's going to be the next October 7th enthusiast that they've released this time? Because they want to make amends and they want to kiss the rear end of people. Eliminate them off the face of the earth, and then we can start negotiating. But for them to have hostages that they've now taken the lives of, there is no ceasefire. We'll tell you we'll cease fire. And as soon as you get the hostages back, we're going back in. We back in. 24 hours later, back in. All right, but I want to play a clip of somebody I think that have been very instrumental, especially a man that's very successful financially and has been more politically active on CNN, Fox News, and that's Kevin O'Leary. So Kevin O'Leary goes on to CNN and literally obliterates these people who have a false bravado about oligarchies and wealth and all of the things that the leftists claim that they know, and they claim that they have virtue in, and they don't care nothing about, they know nothing about, and they look like fools when they go against somebody who really have what it takes to be successful. But I want to play some clips of Kevin O'Leary. Let's play Joe Biden clip first, and then we're going to play Kevin O'Leary literally putting the smack down like he in WWE. Roll the clip.
I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous concentration, and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before, more than a century ago. But the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts.
I can't listen more. I can't listen. Get this old senile man off this thing. I can't listen to it. I tried to listen, but then we go, like, bro, you cannot speak. Won't you have somebody else say what you're saying? Won't you use AI or something? I'm sick of hearing this old senile fool talking on behalf of the country. He sounds like a complete idiot. He sounds like he's literally on his deathbed, one toenail in the grave already. He's circling the drain. Get this man. It's disrespectful to the men and women who died for this country to have this fool up here talking. Dang, he makes me so upset. Anyway, let's bring on Kevin O'Leary real quick. Can somebody take this call? Just take this call. Okay, let's play Kevin O'Leary real quick. And I'm going to get back to the terrorist activity because I've got my paperwork now about the terrorist swap, and it's crazier than you think. And I just gave a little bit of information. I'm gonna read through it, but let's go to Kevin O'Leary real quick, and then we're gonna go back to the terrorist activity information about the terrorist swap, so I can give you some more pertinent information on it. Roll Kevin O'Leary.
What is happening right now is that a handful of major companies and the ones that the men that lead them are saying in the next 4 years is going to be a make or break for AI, and the person who gets closest to Donald Trump the fastest and gives him the most money is going to win that race. Mm-hmm. That's extraordinary to think about.
You know, we celebrate in America the American dream. It's our #1 export. Zuck was a college student once. Look what he's created, how many jobs, how much taxes has he paid. Elon Musk, maybe the most successful entrepreneur in history, another aspect of the American dream, just showing you what can happen. We should be celebrating this. And by the way, that message that Biden put out there, that was Harris's probably #1 message during the election. How'd that work for her? Not so well.
You think that was her #1 message?
I think so.
I don't think so. I think if
no.
she had talked
Remember,
about
she
that,
said,
might have been
I agree.
we have Trump coming and all the bad things about concentration of wealth. Americans appreciate the ability to pursue the American dream every day, and we do not push down on success ever. So, yes, Musk is rich. So what? Zuck.
I don't think
rich.
the issue is how
and
rich they
everybody else comes to this country almost drowning in rivers or getting cut under barbed wires to get in here to pursue their dream. Why do we ever think that we should bash their success?
Actually,
What are you
not
guys
about
talking
bashing.
about?
Actually, I want you to get in,
Yeah.
but let me just say this. It is not about how rich they are.
Exactly.
Just to observe what
is
he's
it?
They're not
talking
rich
about here.
enough, is that what
no,
you're saying?
No. I'm saying that actually what got them there, Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, Jeff Bezos, they all got to where they are because they came up with good ideas. They built big, good
Let's
businesses.
punish them.
And no. And they did so largely without having to do what they are doing now. The fact that they have to do it now, I think, actually is a change for them. They were not going to Washington themselves groveling toward the political leaders to try to keep their businesses afloat.
Yeah, they were disruptors. I hear you that this did
Before
not
she
just start
talks,
with Donald.
let me just give my assertion real quick. Just so, of course, if you guys don't have the context here. What they're essentially saying is that they're afraid that they're losing culture and tech and everything. That's what they're really afraid of. Because what their contention is that now you see Zuckerberg saying, I'm going to work with Donald Trump. You see Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, probably the most greatest entrepreneur, no matter if you care about his personal life, but as an entrepreneur, as what he's been able to build and accumulate wealth, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. He's now almost best friends with Donald Trump. And you see some of these major corporations, like for instance, Coca-Cola, I think gave Trump an award or something, the CEO of Coca-Cola. Inauguration Diet Coke for him. So a major company, a historical American staple, they are giving awards to Donald Trump, and some of them are becoming friendly. Now, the truth is, if you have common sense, is that why don't we work together? That's it. That's it, bro. That's it. They tried to work with the left. The left left them hanging. The left is talking about people shouldn't accumulate wealth. The rich need to pay more taxes. In America, we should be celebrating people like Elon Musk, at least his success. I don't know about his personal life. Who wouldn't? I want to live the American dream. I don't have as much money as Elon Musk one day. Why should I be mad at that man? I should be saying, what can I do to get where he's at? Because this is the point that a lot of people are missing. When I go to these college campuses, this is what the education is doing to these kids. They're getting stupider. They are saying, oh, he got all his money. He got his money. Do you know how much taxes? Think about Zuckerberg probably been doing this for over 20 years now. Do you know how much taxes Zuckerberg has paid personally from Facebook's inception to now? That's personal tax. Then you know how much taxes corporate tax Facebook has paid? Do you know how many people they employ who also pay taxes? Do you know how many people they employ who also have money that pay for things all around the United States of America and all abroad who pay taxes? How many of them you think bought a car that work for Meta? How many think them going to the grocery store every single day and all this stuff? How many, they're paying state tax, they're paying sales tax, they're paying federal income tax. Like one man has probably added over $1 trillion in taxes. One man's bravery, invention, and courage probably added $1 trillion worth of taxes into the United States of America. Elon Musk alone paid a couple billion when he pulled $50 billion from his equity. He paid like a couple $1 billion in taxes. I think he paid the most taxes out of anybody in the world, in world history, or in United States history. What are we talking about? Every other regular person that's walking around here paying taxes that get a tax return. People that make real money don't get tax. I mean, when I say make a lot of money, don't get tax return. Not real money, a lot of money. They don't get tax returns. They owe taxes and they pay taxes at the end of the year. But for 90% of America, you get a tax return. Why? Because you're contributing, I don't know, $4,000 a year. I mean, these billionaires and multimillionaires are literally paying millions of dollars in taxes every year. They paying millions. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that soapbox, but the left is so mindless in communism that they shame what got them here. They're literally probably doing a broadcast using a camera from a person who was an entrepreneur that developed the camcorder and the whole process and the system and they may use I don't know what they use to do the thing. What's that we got right here? The TriCaster. They probably use the big TriCaster to do all this stuff. These are entrepreneurs. The iPhones they use in entrepreneurship. The government didn't create none of this. Let me get back to the video, Nick. I'm going off. Roll the clip.
Trump, and I don't actually think that was Kamala Harris's message. And I actually think when I listened to this, I thought Joe Biden was literally trying to pass the torch and give a nod to Democrats about maybe we should have rethought and not just run down my list of accomplishments of all the great things I did, but also talk about like
to whom?
to
Gavin
the next
Newsom?
to the next generation of leaders and talk about probably I don't think he was doing it to Gavin Newsom, but he was saying to the American people, the American dream is real, and if you work hard, you should be able to prosper, but everybody should play by the same rules, and it shouldn't just be billionaires get to continue to expand their wealth while the working class Americans that so many Democrats acknowledge they weren't able to
say
connect
on the billionaire front, I don't think. I think it's hard to say that Joe Biden was punishing them when Jeff Bezos was famously at one of the more recent state dinners in the Biden White House, when Bezos and SpaceX, Elon Musk's company have all of these contracts with the Biden administration agencies. So it's hard for me to know how he was punishing them. But to me, let's go back. I'd like to go back big picture to this address today. I don't think it was an address for today. I think it was an address for history and posterity and how the Biden administration is going to be seen. I don't think the 36% approval is going to be affected in the short term, one iota, by this farewell speech. But I do think that we are going to study it and the things he said. And he was passing the torch, not to Gavin Newsom, not to an elected official. He was passing the torch. He told the American people that we are the keepers of the flame when he talked about the Statue of Liberty and that analogy that he made. He also talked about how so many of the things he did are going to grow and bloom in decades to come.
How do you think
I think that's going to be the case.
How do you think history's going to treat his foreign policy, his Bidenomics? How do you think he's going to be treated? Pardoning his son, the Biden brand name. Do you think a single Biden can get on the board of the Smithsonian?
I don't think you can argue against pardoning the son when you supported a felon. You see, that to me, you lose the moral authority there.
How do you feel about the Biden brand? How did he help his family? It's worse than Nixon for him.
You're going to talk to me about helping the family when Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudis?
Yeah.
So I think that one of the things that we have to be mindful here is that
Hold on, stop real quick before another person say something. I don't know. He may be on the right side. They normally put the Republican here and the Republican here. But anyway, they like to do what if-isms and all that stuff, or what about-isms. Think about this. If you are saying that Donald Trump helped his family, then you are equally should be outraged that Biden helped his family. Nobody in Donald Trump's family was a felon that's convicted on 2 felony charges that are major, taxes and gun laws, which he would have been a prohibited possessor. He'd have never been able to carry a gun again. And also, when you look at his taxes, I mean, he had to pay back like $2 million in taxes that he got from foreign governments, which he didn't disclose because he didn't want people to know he was getting money from a foreign government. We should actually investigate him. He should go to jail over this. But Joe Biden, knowing that if it's investigated, he would go to jail, he gave a pardon of him for 18 years or something like that, 11 years, to where he retroactively pardoned him. So that means that anything that he could have done 11 years ago to now, he's pardoned preemptively. This is what Kevin O'Leary, what does that Jared Kushner got to do anything? Jared Kushner ain't even his son. Jared Kushner is his son-in-law. He got 2 sons, 3 sons. What did he do for his 3 sons? Nothing. He didn't have to bail them out of nothing. Jared Kushner made $1 billion because he's a businessman. That's no here nor there. We talking about corruption. We talking about Joe Biden being corrupt. We talking about his legacy. The dude has the worst legacy. I'm glad he has the worst legacy. And everybody that voted for him should be ashamed of themselves to vote for that fool. Because I told many of y'all not to vote for him because he's trash. Roll the clip.
Politicians play this game where they say the rich, especially with Democrats, the rich should pay their fair share. And Josh is right. Joe Biden has been in office, and the rich have only gotten richer under Joe Biden. It happens, though, under every single president, whether it's Republican or Democrat. It is just Democrats. Their mantra is that the rich should pay more. I thought that for Biden's speech. Now, Biden came into the White House with a lot of promise. He's been in office since about the same time as I think the Ford Pinto was an actual vehicle. That was back in the 70s. He came in office with these number of years of experience. And what you saw during the Biden administration, unfortunately for him and unfortunately for Democrats, was a lot of underperformance. I thought that they thought the 2020 midterms where Biden was dark Brandon, they saw success. Kamala Harris was out as the abortion czar. All of that was supposed to help Joe Biden, and then we get to June, and then we get to July of this year, and the bottom fell out of it for Joe Biden. So I don't think attacking the 1% of the rich is really going to help Joe Biden.
It's not about, Kevin, it's not about not letting people get rich. It's about not letting rich people control the political process and not having our politicians captured by those rich people such that they can't institute regulation and common sense laws to make sure that the people at the top don't abuse the people at the bottom. And our system in Washington is broken.
That's fair. It's all fair, but half the country's still wondering how Joe Biden got rich.
Yeah, okay, so here's
how did he get rich?
If Joe Biden got...
I'm wondering the same thing. That's it. Joe Biden, we wondering how Joe Biden got rich. Isn't it amazing that all these celebrities, see, they paid them, but isn't it amazing that Democrats had all these celebrities endorsing them? Is that not the wealthy? Listen, Taylor Swift is going out on a limb and saying we need to vote for Kamala Harris. She had all the celebrities backing her. Same thing with Joe Biden. But y'all don't have a problem with that when they're being influenced and backed by all the billionaires. But when the tide turn, they mad. Because last time I checked, Zuckerberg donated like $400 million to the Biden administration and did the Zucker boxes, which essentially helped him get elected. Jeff Bezos' wife literally donate, or ex-wife, because they only get rich when they divorce a billionaire. His ex-wife donates hundreds of millions of dollars to leftist causes. Look at the power and influence of women like that who are billionaires. Oprah Winfrey. These billionaires, they are lockstep. Oh, The Rock may be close to a billionaire. They're in lockstep with the Democrat Party. They're on stage endorsing them. They tweeting. They got all the celebrities in Hollywood got a Zoom call going. But that's not political elite or social elites and billionaires having social influence or political influence on the Democrats. When they do it, it's fine. But then it's a scary moment. It's a cold day in hell for them when all of a sudden Elon Musk, who was a Democrat, who was all environmental and created the electric car, or at least he had some part in building the company. He did all of that and they loved him. Elon, Silicon Valley, in Democrat-run California, Zuckerberg, Bezos, they still got billionaire Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. They got the Gates. They got all these people, Soros. They all these billionaires that support them. Totally fine, nothing wrong with it. We're gonna make them pay their fair share. When have they ever made billionaires pay more taxes? Billionaires get richer under them. Listen, let me just say this real quick. Because I've been around people that got a lot of money, and I'm starting to learn a lot from them. One thing is, people with a lot of money are generally nicer, more giving and generous with their time and money than anybody else. I know people that don't got 2 pennies to rub together, and they will treat you like crap. And I know people also that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they'll get a shirt off their back, put you up in a hotel. They'll do things for you. They give the charity. You can call them. They'll pick up the phone. You got somebody that's penny pinching. They won't pick up the phone because they too good now because they got a little bit more money than they used to have. So one thing I'm learning is that wealthy people are a lot nicer than people think they are, and they're a lot more generous. Also, wealth has nothing to do with the presidents. When you rich, you rich. When you got money, you got money. It don't matter who's in office. You still rich. Jeff Bezos with Amazon and then Amazon delivery and all that other stuff, when the COVID hit, he got richer. Why? Because nobody could go anywhere. He was in the delivery business. Then they delivering food. Then they got drones. It's like, these rich people gonna be richer. Then he richer now that we've recovered because people have gotten accustomed to Amazon. My wife should be on the board of Amazon as much stuff she buy from Amazon. And so when you look at it for what it is, you say, rich people gonna always get rich. And poor people only get poor because of their choices are poor. Some people are never gonna be a millionaire because they don't have the heart to do it. And some of them, God ain't called you to be a millionaire. You would mess that money over. But what you can do is not be poor. And the reason that people are poor because they make poor decisions. You know, people ask, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You say, what comes first, decisions or poverty? And I'd say that, in my opinion, I think the chicken came first. Well, maybe the egg came first and it hatched. Maybe the chicken came first. I don't know which one came first. One of them came, God did that. But regardless of that analogy, go to my analogy, all right? I think decisions came first and then you got poor. That's what I think. If you go in America today, you can do, I drive around the streets and I see all kind of businesses on cars driving by. They a little print company, flooring company. They got all kind of people doing all kind of business. There's millions of small businesses, probably millions of them starting every year. And if you want to, when you were in school and your mama and them was telling you, you need to get your grades, you need to get your education, your decision to not listen to them is why you're struggling. It ain't because America has done you wrong. It's because you don't have no skills. You don't have any discipline. You didn't learn anything in school. You don't have any ambition. And so you get out of school and then you too good to work a minimum wage job. You too good. Somebody owe you something in life. You shouldn't have to work. Instead of saying, like the illegal aliens do and foreigners do when they come over here, they go, I'm willing to do anything it takes to live the American dream. And then these young people don't even want to work nowhere. Oh, I don't get paid enough. What do you mean you don't get paid enough? Something is better than nothing. Not getting paid enough is you sit on the corner somewhere begging somebody. What do? Then they go and they get criminal records. Oh, I'm going to get drunk. I get drunk on the weekend. There's nothing wrong with drinking and driving. I'm not going to get caught. You too dumb. You too broke to be getting DUIs. Now you got DUI on your record. Then now you can't drive. You got to have an interlock device. Now you got to pay money for an interlock device and have to go to court for a DUI when you already don't got no money. And then some of y'all just sticking your thing in anything. Now you got a kid out of wedlock and you ain't had no money before you had the kid. Some of you women, you let Tyrone come over at midnight and Tyrone ain't got no job. And you know, and I know Tyrone ain't got no job. He ain't trying to get no job. Tyrone doing illegal activity. Or Tyrone working at McDonald's. He ain't trying to do nothing better with his life. But you slept with him because you like Tyrone cologne. He's 6'3". He know how to talk. He know how to dress. Now you got a baby with Tyrone and you broke. And then you can't get ahead because you got a baby you got to take care of. That's why you broke. Don't be mad at the wealthy man because the wealthy man made better decisions than you did. Every time, and I know there's exceptions to everything, right? Somebody's a trust fund baby. They didn't do anything to get that wealth. Their parents did. Okay, that's an exception. Somebody's born in a household where both of their parents are crackheads and they've been in foster care their whole life and they don't have an opportunity. I get it. Those things happen. They're way out here. But most of us in the middle, it's your choices that you make. And quit lying to yourself in the mirror every night. You lying to yourself in the mirror. The liberals tell themselves that it's Jeff Bezos' fault and the rich people. No, it's your fault. You the one upside down on that car. You shouldn't have bought that car. You didn't have the money. You didn't have the credit, but you wanted to show off for your friend over here. So now you got a car with a 15% interest rate. You don't need an iPhone. Get you a Flip. Get you a Cricket till you get your stuff together. No, you want the iPhone and the watch because they promise you that you sign a year contract, you get the iPhone and watch for $55 a month. Now you paying for stuff you can't even afford to impress people that don't even like you. But you mad at people that got money. You know the difference between you and the guy that's the manager at your job? Because you're not willing to work hard enough. You're not willing to put in the work like he is. You're not willing to put yourself out there, be vulnerable, and take chances. That's why. You know your mama told you need to go to church, and you don't go to church, and you don't have God retained in your consciousness. Therefore, your decision-making is poor, and that's why you can't get ahead. If you go to church like your mama told you to do, your grandma told you to do, and you get a relationship with the Lord, you'll make better decisions. And if you bless other people, you'll be blessed in your life. Okay, I know that was for somebody. Let's move on. I want to go back to the terrorist activity. Was that the last clip? I want to go back to the terrorist activity, the terrorist swap. I just want to give some information here. We'll put this in the beginning together to make a video later. But Palestine prisoners to be released. I want y'all to understand this. And it blew my socks off when I read it. Approximately 1,000 Palestinian prisoners are slated to be released by Israel. 1,000. Individuals with life sentences. Amongst these, 22 prisoners are serving life for involvement in deadly attacks on Israelis, are expected to be exiled to countries such as Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt. Rearrested individuals. The release includes 48 Palestinians who were initially freed in a 2011 Hamas Israel prisoner exchange, but were later rearrested by Israel. And one of the people that were let out was the one that committed or orchestrated, allegedly, I don't know if he did it or not, October the 7th. How is this a win? How is this a win? And then they're giving us back hostages. 42-day ceasefire starting on January the 19th, I think. Ends 15 months of conflict. That's what it does. It ends 15 months of conflict. Hostages released. Hamas will release 33 Israeli hostages in the initial phase, including infants, children, women, and elderly men abducted during the October 7th attack. Israel, we need to stop helping y'all, because I don't know why y'all do this right here. You give up 1,000, they give 33. You gave 1,000, and you gave 33 people that had no business being hostages. They ain't do nothing to these people. They just took them. They just on the street killed all these people, and then they took these people as hostages. And the people that are in prison in Israel committed crimes. I'll go back to the number. We need to stop helping y'all if y'all don't get y'all stuff together. 22 of them doing life in prison for murdering Israelis. The hostages that Hamas is releasing didn't do nothing to nobody. So we releasing 1,000. Y'all releasing 1,000. They releasing 32 people. That ain't all of them, because they killed some of them. And y'all cool with that prisoner swap. America, I don't know if we did this. I don't know if Israel did this. Something need to give. We giving y'all too much money for y'all to be this stupid. And then what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to predict it right now. I'm not a prophet, but I'm going to predict this. They're going to have another attack. It is going to be from somebody they let out of the 1,000. Think about this for a minute. I can't stand people so stupid. I don't even get how human beings exist. They so stupid. We could have such a beautiful world and everything would be great, but people are stupid. Look at this. When they were in prison, many of them killed Israelis and they hate Israel. Right? I bet they did. Now that they've been in prison and October 7th happened, I think they hate Israel more than they did before. And how many of them people that already killed Israelis, already in prison for real reasons, they doing life in prison, how much do you think when they get over there to Hamas, are they going to get activated? Some of them may be good at it. They just end up getting one of them good terrorists in jail. Now they free. Now they finna come and kill more of y'all. Ceasefire. I ain't ceasing until everybody dead. That's what I would do. It ain't a good exchange, man. I like to report that, right, Nick? I wanted to. Nick know I wanted to. I'm a big Israeli fan. But my gosh, man, what are y'all doing? That's okay that they get to kill hostages and to do it. What are they going to do next time? They say, they don't care about their citizens. They let them die all day long, get raped and everything. They don't care nothing about their own citizens. They do not care. But they expect Israel to care, but they don't care. All right, so they throw their own citizens to die because they dispensable. All of their leaders are billionaires, and some of them ain't even living in Palestine or Gaza. They living somewhere else, in Qatar somewhere. Then they say, okay, we got 1,000 of our people back. Many of them are some of our best war fighters, potentially strategic war fighters, maybe. So all we got to do is go and kill a bunch of people and get some hostages, and we can just let our people die as much as need to die before we do a prisoner swap, and then we get more of our terrorists back. We can kill the hostages if we want to. We can do whatever we want. We can rape them. We can kill them. We can torture them. We can do whatever we want to the hostages. We're just going to do that, and we're going to let our people die until we get what we want. Come on, keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it to y'all. They're going to keep doing it. And we're going to be having the same sad story again because they're going to do another attack in Israel for the people that they release. And they're going to do the attack so they can do the same thing they did this time. They attack, they hide behind their citizens, they get the world to hate Israel, and then they cease fire and they attack again. That's the rinse and repeat of what Hamas is doing. They don't value life, so they don't care how many people die. They have an ultimate goal of inflicting as much harm, chaos, confusion, murder, despair in Israel as much as they can because they know they can't beat them, so they're just going to keep terrorizing them. So then at nighttime when the Israeli kid had his head on the pillow, he got to worry about a bomb coming flying through the window for the rest of his life. That's what it is. And you know what? Although they did all that stuff, probably in Israel right now, as we speak, the mosque is on the Temple Mount, and they got Allah Akbar playing over the loudspeakers 3 times a day or whatever they do. In Israel, just crying on the wall on the side. They crying on this little wall right here. I don't know what the Jews thinking, man. I mean, come on, man. That's why Jesus was on y'all head the first time. Because y'all be doing too much. Y'all not doing enough, I can say. I think some of them, I think it was weakness then and weakness now is the reason why y'all can't be great. As great as you should be. Y'all had the potential when you 40 days in the wilderness, going around 40 years. 40 years in the wilderness. I don't know how God chose people that's silly as a mud. 40 years in the wilderness, just going in circles because y'all can't listen. Then now you let them take over the Temple Mount. They at first they had the Golan Heights, and then they gave that. We finally conquered that and got that. Then Jerusalem is finally in. I just come on, man. Y'all need to step y'all game up. You know, you got the ones that are Orthodox that don't even fight in the military. Like this is what a guy told me. He said, we don't even like the ones with the swirls. I said, because I see there's regular Israelis, and then there's the Orthodox with the swirls and the hat and all that stuff, and the stuff on their forehead and everything. And I'm like, what are they? He go, well, technically they supposed to be rabbis. I say rabbis. They're supposed to study the Torah. Their only job is to preserve and study the Torah. They don't have to fight in the military or do nothing. It was supposed to be like 40 of them or something, 100. Now it's like 400,000 of them or something crazy. It was supposed to be like a couple hundred of them that were dedicated to the Torah. And now they've made a grift out of it to a ton of people doing it. Probably do it because they don't want to fight. So there's some good and bad. I don't want to just crap on them. There's a lot of good in Israelis and Jewish people. And then they got their own faults too, just like everybody else. They got these people in here that won't pick up the boots. I don't care if I'm studying the Bible or not. I'm willing to pick that rifle up and go to town if I have to. You ain't finna. I'm not finna be sitting there saying I'm too good to. I don't pick that. I had that Bible in this hand and the AR in this hand. I'll put that Bible in stack it right up in here. Put the Bible on my shoulder with the AR. I don't know, man. Maybe God made me different. I'll die for this. I'll die for what I believe in. Anyway, let's just move on. I'm so disappointed in I thought this was a good thing. Donald Trump did this. Ceasefire. Israel's won. Hey, letting 1,000 terrorists out of there. What they thinking? Let's go to AOCC. AOCC. No, let's go to Don Lemonhead. Let's talk about Don Lemonhead. Let's go to Don Lemon Juice. No Diddy. Okay, Don Lemon melts down after his guest admits that Trump deserved credit for the Israel-Hamas deal. I want to talk about this real quick while I was on the subject. Roll the clip. First clip.
What say you?
Well, this is what I say. According to diplomats who were involved firsthand in the negotiation, President Biden refused to put any pressure on Netanyahu. And ultimately, they gave up that any deal would happen. It was, and Don, you and I talked about President Trump. I have no love, and I don't want to give Trump any credits, but I know, but I am in the business of telling the truth.
Same.
Donald Trump intervention have been monumental in making the ceasefire deal possible, and just to make people understand, President Biden not only refused on multiple occasions to put any pressure on the Prime Minister of Israel to do any deal. People who were involved in the negotiation, including Israeli negotiators, told me firsthand that very often they felt that he was more than backing the negotiating team, the Israeli negotiating team. He was backing the Prime Minister agenda and his desire to stay in office. The Israeli media and Israeli ministers, including Ben-Gvir, today confirmed that it was President Trump. Israeli media also confirmed that Netanyahu was already gave up on the hostages. He was willing to sacrifice the hostages for his political desire to stay in power. However, Donald Trump happened to be a transactional president, happened to be a transactional man. He wanted to come to the White House with a win. And that was always his approach.
Let me ask you this then. So why did they not wait until he took office, which is just going to be in about a week?
Because he didn't want to deal with these issues as he get into office. He wanted this issue to be off the table.
Roll up. Okay. I don't agree with that. I think Donald Trump would like to have started off. We know Donald Trump, the day of his inauguration or on the day to announce a ceasefire. The fact that it happened on Biden.
Hold on. I'm going to let him finish. I promise, guys, I'm going to let him finish. Donald Trump said, if you don't give our hostages back by the time I get in, by January 20th, it's going to be all hell to pay. Done lemon juice, done lemon lime, whatever you want to call it, lemon head. Listen, if they wait until the 20th, it's over. So they got to do it before the 20th. All right? It's almost the weekend. Roll the clip.
Watch. I think that leads many people to question whether it was. And look, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but that's going to lead many people to question.
Do you know when the ceasefire will enter in? Do you know when the ceasefire will start?
It's going to start. Well, the temporary ceasefire is going to start. It should start on Sunday, correct?
It will start on the 19th.
You mean the permanent?
No. The phase one of the ceasefire will start the day
Trump
inauguration, basically. That's when it will happen.
Don Lemon Juice, you better go look up something in that hotel room. Tell your boyfriend to look it up for you. But husband now, I guess they got married. I don't know who married them. Who they get married? They better not got married at Catholic Church. They did get married at Catholic Church, Nick. Look it up. I swear I saw them walking down the street, look like they walked in front of Catholic Church. I don't want to bet. I hope to God they didn't get married at Catholic Church. I'm going to be mad at the Catholics. Somebody married them. I don't know what they got married. I don't call that marriage. A Presbyterian church. Y'all, you know Presbyterians, they off. Presbyterians and the Methodists still ain't found the method. That's what, I ain't mean the method. It's just somebody I know say that. He said, my daddy was a Methodist pastor and still haven't found the method. Johnny James, by the way, they call him the walking Bible. Johnny James is the most brilliant man, one of the most brilliant men to ever live, in my opinion. Some of y'all don't know because he's black. He in the black church sphere. But Johnny James said that. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, he was wrong because listen, Donald Trump had everything to do. He said that y'all gonna have hell to pay if I get in office and you ain't getting these hostages back. So what do? They negotiate, they get the deal done. Therefore, hostages phase 1 starts before he gets in office, because he said, if I get in the office and you hadn't done it, that means you got to do it before I get there. You do it while I'm there, it's too late. The jets are already there. Drop them. All right. That was it? What's the other one? Biden State Department gives Trump credit. Is that a good one? Yeah. Play both of them. I'll cut it off when it's too long.
President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
When it comes to the involvement of President-elect Trump's team, it has been absolutely critical in getting this deal over the line. And it's been critical because, obviously, as I stand here today, this administration's term in office will expire in 5 days. And one of the things that we have always said about this deal is that when you get from stage 1 to stage 2, that the United States, Egypt, and Qatar are the guarantors of this deal. And Egypt and Qatar will push Hamas to stay at the bargaining table and to get from stage 1 to stage 2, and the United States will push Israel to stay at the bargaining table to get from phase 1 and phase 2. So obviously those are promises we cannot make on behalf of the United States for any longer than the next 5 days. And so it's critical that all of the parties to the agreement and the other mediators see that when the United States is in the room.
I heard enough. Y'all get it. They trying to freaking politicize themselves around it. Donald Trump is the man. Y'all just admitted, kiss the ring on the 20th, all you fake politicians. And we're going to celebrate all the way through and through. All right. Let's go to, before I go to ALC, I want to go to Stephen A. Smith real quick. Because some of you guys have been messaging me and saying, Stephen A. Smith gave you a shout out. Stephen A. Smith said he wanted to meet you. Stephen A. Smith said this. And I didn't know what you guys were talking about. So I watched a little bit of the Dave Rubin clip. And in fact, Stephen A. Smith did say or mention and bring me up for the second time. And I'll just say this. If anybody knows Stephen A. and you see this video, I'm going to message him on social media. I'd love to sit down and interview Stephen A. or we could go have a bourbon together. We ain't even got to do no camera stuff. I do respect Stephen A., his transition, right? No, I'm not talking about his transition like like a transgender, but I'm talking about his transition into political awakening. Because at one point in time in my life, I was like Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith is much older than me, and he had a lot more money, and so there's a lot more pressure for him to wake up and change. But I do appreciate the fact that I feel like he's honest about his transition for the most part. And I think that he's open to listening to other opinions, which gives him the ability to transition. But those of you who wanted to see this clip, if you haven't seen it, I thought it was very honorable. I think Stephen A. Smith is a pretty big deal, in my opinion. And he's one of those people that is good to have on our side, because smart people that have influence, that's telling the truth, is a win-win. Roll the clip.
I really thought, and I think I said it on my show like 2 weeks before the election, I was like, I think Stephen A. is going to vote for Trump. Was there just something else that was just a roadblock?
Let's call it what it is. There's a lot of people that won't admit this. I'm going to admit it. I was a bit misinformed. Let's call it what it is. I'm going to tell you when my mind almost changed. I had already voted down here when Barack Obama spoke to those black men in Pittsburgh and alluded to misogyny being the reason that they weren't voting for Kamala Harris. I was highly offended by that. And I remember this, I think his name is Officer Tatum. He has his own podcast and stuff like that. And,
he's a buddy.
You know, right? I remember how he was going off about that and was totally right. I was like, the nerve. Because wait a minute, you go on The View and they ask you, is there anything about Barack Obama, I'm sorry, not about President Biden that you found wrong, anything that you would do different? You can't think of anything?
Yeah.
With 12.5 million people crossing the border? You know, really? You can't think of anything. You see homelessness in the street. You see crime. You can't think of anything. There was plenty of things you could have spoke on. Now, I know you didn't want to throw him under the bus, but when that happened, and then Barack Obama spoke to black men and said that, I was so insulted. Had I not voted already,
wow,
I might have voted for. That's how pissed off I was.
Did he just say I red pill him? Is that what he said? Did I have an influence in Stephen A. Smith's awakening to a certain degree? He did say he was mad, but he did end up seeing my commentary. So I don't know. Y'all may be the judge. Do you think that I had anything to do with Stephen A. Smith's gradual transition to realizing that the Democrats are fraudulent fools and they've been defrauding the black community forever, and they just got exposed this time? I've been saying this. Candace been saying this. A bunch of us black conservatives that woke up have been saying this for a very long time. These people, when I went back and did research, because I'm the type of person that says, and I'm manic about this. I'm up all night thinking about this stuff. When somebody challenges me on something I never thought about before, I don't immediately respond. I go look it up. And it's exhilarating to me to look up stuff because I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, it's cool that I never knew this. And when I was being challenged by some of my friends on the police department, especially on the SWAT team, and they would challenge me about my position as a Democrat, and they would say stuff, and I was like, I didn't even watch that. If this guy's telling the truth, that's a big deal, right? If Barack Obama said what he said, that's a problem. And I'm not going to overlook it because I don't know none of these people, right? I don't know none of these politicians. They don't pay my bills. I ain't got no kind of loyalty to none of them. And then I go and look it up and I go, he did say the Cambridge police officers were acting stupidly. Wait a minute, I saw that video and the cops didn't do nothing wrong. The guy was breaking in his house and the neighbor didn't recognize him, so the neighbor called the police and the cops were like, hey man, just show us your ID so we can make sure that you say that it's all good. I'm a professor. And the dude lied about the cops until the body camera came out. And he didn't even check. Michael Brown, they sent the DOJ and people to his funeral. I knew when I first saw it was a lie. Bro, you ain't gonna apologize for that? I put the uniform on every day, and now people coming at me. Oh, man, y'all ain't nothing. Y'all kill Michael Brown and all these black people, and people hating us more because this fool is up there saying crazy stuff with no repercussions. I said, I can't support that, man. I remember when I first started talking about slavery, people were like, oh, the Republican Party was established to combat slavery. And I said, oh, that sounds crazy. Let me go look this up. How do you think the slaves were freed? Unanimous vote by Republicans. How do you think black people got citizenship? How do you think women had the right to vote? Unanimously voted by Republicans. Not every Democrat voted for it. The Civil Rights Act, unanimously Republican. Democrats filibustered for the longest filibuster in United States history. Oh, wait a minute. They go, the parties never switched. The Democrats were the party of slavery. What? Wait a minute. The NRA helped the black people get firearms. So the NRA ain't a bunch of racist white people that been just hate black people their whole life. No, they were trying to arm black people so they could defend themselves against the KKK. Oh, wait a minute. The civil rights movement, let me see. No, the NAACP was established by a white person with W.B. Du Bois and them connected to it, but it wasn't just black people. White people helped the NAACP come about. Wait a minute. The first legal slave owner in American history was a black man. Wait a minute. Anthony Johnson. What? Somebody said Anthony Johnson. I looked it up. Anthony Johnson, the first legal slave owner in American history. 1600s, Anthony Johnson, black man. Whoa, wait a minute. Harriet Tubman was married. Wait a minute. She was married. Harriet Tubman was married. Her husband was a free black man, and they lived together. When she started the Underground Railroad, he actually told her not to do it. What? Do the research. When black people were boycotting and Rosa Parks, that was a staged event. There was a black woman that was on the bus kicked off, but she had a kid out of wedlock at 16. So she wouldn't have been a good enough example for them to push the issue. So they staged it with Rosa Parks. What? Then I found out that black people had their own bus line when Rosa Parks was riding the bus, the white man bus. Black people had their own bus line. So we decided to stage the whole thing. We didn't want our bus line. We wanted to integrate with the white man bus line. Instead of building ours, we wanted to get on theirs. That's where all this came from. What? And I took Africana Studies in college. What? Lynching. Now, there was more black people lynched than white people. There was 1,200 white people in the history of lynching. There was over 1,200 or 1,400 white people that were lynched. What? I thought it was black people only getting lynched. 1,200 some white people getting lynched in comparison to, I think, 3,200 black people, somewhere around there. But 1,200 white people got lynched. So that means white people were getting lynched too. By who? Other white people? Oh, well, I thought they all got along. I thought they were always against the black man. Then when I went to college and I took Africana Studies, I realized, and they taught us more thoroughly, that slavery wasn't about race. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't just want to enslave the black man from the continent of Africa. No. They tried to slave the white man first. They couldn't endure the climate and environment. They weren't built for it. They tried to enslave the natives, but they had a native tongue. They knew how to talk to each other, and the white people didn't know what they were saying. So, and they knew the terrain. They knew the way around. So in the nighttime, they escape. They'll plot it, and they'll escape because they knew where they were going and nobody could find them. So that wasn't going to work. So they had to go get the cheapest labor available, which were already enslaved black people in Africa who were trading their own people. So they went to Africa to get the slaves, brought them back here, and they became slaves. And that was one of the biggest blessings in disguise for black people today, because we didn't have to go through the drama, but we reaped the benefits off the backs of them people who died for us. But we steady complaining. I'm the white man. What's that clip from yesterday? We got it still in the system. That actor that was in Amistad, that African actor. Do we have that clip? Now, speaking of that, still complaining. Let me just give you an example, because I got 1,000. If my mind could if AI could make my mind pop up every example that come to my mind, and I could just have it right here in front of me, I have 1,000 of them. But we were going to talk about this subject yesterday. The actor in the Amistad is complaining about discrimination and despair. It's crazy to me. When you find out the truth, like Stephen A. just did, like I did, like others, you realize, wait a minute. When I start peeling this onion back, what else is beneath the surface of this thing, man? How deep does this go? How deep does the lies go? How deep does the brainwashing go? And I remember him only from Amistad. He played a great part. That was the greatest acting I ever seen. I mean, he got awards after awards for Amistad. Roll the clip.
How has Hollywood changed in terms of African representation in what you see since you started out to what's being produced now?
Yes, quite a bit has changed. I must say, because of course, when I came out with Amistad, I was nominated for a Golden Globe, but they ignored me for the Oscars, talking about the fact that they thought that I had just came off the boat and off the streets, where Steven Spielberg, used me for this film, and even though I successfully did that, they just didn't feel like I was an actor for whom we should pay any respect to. So this conceptual idea of diversity and all that, it still has a long way to go. Systemic racism don't change like that anytime soon. I mean, I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business.
After, well, it's been.
Oh, shot it. He worth $4 million last time I checked. You said what? 4.2. He worth 4.2. He worth 4 and a deuce million. And he's still struggling as an actor. Denzel Washington ain't struggling. Why? How come you say discrimination is still, and one of the greatest actors to ever live and probably got so many awards is Denzel Washington. He not struggling. Some of these other, like it's a lot of black people that are successful. Here's the thing. I'm telling you guys, it's an energy thing. I'm going to write a book about this. It's an energy thing. Give me the big screen. When you're walking around, you said what? Yeah, I don't even want to hear him no more. He's still complaining. When you're walking around and in your mind, your subconscious says, or the voice in your head is telling you, I'm not good enough. When you're telling yourself you're not good enough, people can see that on you. The way your aura, and you guys have all seen this if you paid attention. When somebody come in the room, you're like, that person must be important. And that's not only because they got a title, it's because the way they think is the way they carry themselves. If you think you're not good enough, you're going to carry yourself not good enough, and people are going to feel that. They're going to feel the energy that you're putting off. Just like creepy people. You know, have you ever been around somebody and you're like, damn, that person creepy as a mother. There's something about this man right here, boy. He like I can't be alone with him in the same room. That's because they creepy. And the aura that they're giving off, because in their mind, all of these negative and dark things are going on, and they probably thinking about taking advantage of you. And that connectivity that God has given us, the intuition and stuff that's naturally given to us, some have better than others, is kicking in. So it's very impactful to your future how you think about yourself. That's why I listen to affirmations almost every night. And I've been slacking some, here and there, but I try to listen to affirmations every night. I want to brainwash my subconscious mind to see myself differently. So when my waking hours can be influenced by my subconscious mind to think positive things about myself. Because when you think well about yourself, you begin to act a certain way. Then you begin to attract people that's just like-minded, just like you. Some of y'all have lived life long enough to know when you're doing dirt, you always find dirty people to do dirt with you. You on drugs. Some of y'all be addicts that have recovered. You know, when you on drugs, you can find a drug dealer anywhere. You can spot him a mile away. Oh man, I wouldn't even think about it. I got drugs right here. And you can find a friend that then you can smoke crack with him, and it's all coming together. It's because these are the things that you're attracted to yourself by the way you think about yourself and the way you act. If you're a happy person, and this is biblical, and I'm going to write a book about it, I told you. This is biblical. The reaping and the sowing is biblical. If you feel a certain way and you act a certain way, it's going to lead you to a certain path. That's why I let that victim mentality go a very long time ago. And I don't believe anything can hold me back. Only thing that can hold me back is if God doesn't have that as a plan in my life. If God has it as a plan for my life, ain't nothing can hold me back. Nobody, nowhere, no time, no nothing. God is going to open that door, and that door will be open and no man can shut. That's what I believe. So the color of my skin, and if I experience adversities because of the color of my skin, God is trying to teach me something to get me somewhere greater than where I'm at today. So maybe you do get discriminated against in certain cases. Yeah, that's to make you stronger. That's not for you to cry like a punk. It's for you to get stronger and say, you know what? I know how to handle adversity. I know how to communicate in an environment where I feel like people are against me. I know how to find success, like what they say, the flower through the concrete, the rose through the concrete rose, or whatever people use that analogy. But it's only to make you better. When you have drama in your family, don't look at it as, dang, why am I going through this? You got to look at it as, okay, how do I get better in this so I can learn? Because God is trying to take me somewhere else. I'm going to give y'all an example real quick, and then we're going to move on. I struggled for the longest with my son not living with me. But I kept the faith, and I kept believing. I would tell my son every day, because he would say, Daddy, I want to live with you. Daddy, I want to live with you. And I say, look, son, God is going to do what God going to do. So God got his own plan. And all you need to do is be good, focus on being successful, do the best you can, listen to your mama, do whatever you're going to do, because God may have a plan for you to be where you at right now. And of course, I have to give my son encouragement because it hurt me on the inside. And I kept strong. 14 years and tens of thousands of dollars later, court appearances, all kind of other crazy stuff. And I'm going to tell you this, and it's a testimony. And that's why I'm not mad at nobody over this. It's a testimony. I do struggle sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I get mad every now and then when I think about it. No court whatsoever, although I went to court, granted me my son living with me. Not a single court appearance, not a single attorney, not a single force that I had to do, nothing like that. One day, he could live with you. Now, of course, I still gotta do stuff to make that happen, and God gonna bless me because I'm doing the right thing. But now all of a sudden, my son lives with me. And y'all knew, and I said this probably to some of y'all who've been following me for a long time because you knew my son lived with his mom. And I said, one day I'm going to have my son, he's going to live with me. But in the meantime, what am I doing to prepare myself to get to a point where it's a smooth thing when he lives with me? I'm prepared as a father. For all you fathers out there, that I got an environment that he can flourish in. Because maybe, just maybe, if my son had lived with me when he said he wanted to live with me, when I thought he should have lived with me, maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at. I would be where I'm at today. Maybe if I had my son with me, I wouldn't have went on a date with Corinne. And I wouldn't have got married. Or maybe I would have been prioritizing other things. And I wouldn't have got where I'm at. But God knew that he needed me to get right here with this level of maturity, with this woman. My wife is the greatest woman I know. With this woman, because the environment in which your son is now living in is better than what he would have lived in if you would have got it your way. I'm preaching to somebody. Y'all don't have to watch it. Y'all don't have to listen. Somebody getting blessed. I wish somebody would have spoke life to me like this while I was watching a political live stream. It's true. It's all about what you think about yourself is how you succeed or fail, because it becomes residual compounding. All right, let's get to ALCC. And then we're going to go one more story. I'll leave the Diddy one out. Let's go to ALC real quick. She crookeded in 3 left shoes on a 10-legged man making all left turns. So here's her, and this is my problem with these Democrats. Why are they so inconsistent with women's rights? They claim they care about women, but they want women to exterminate women through abortion. I thought you care about women, but you don't care about those women. Oh, okay. So women can be selfish enough to say, I don't want a woman to live because I'd rather have a good time in my life and not sacrifice anything. So I'm going to make sure this woman don't live. I'm going to go to the clinic and make sure she don't live. And that's totally fine. They push that. You go, girl. They push a man trying to be a woman, disenfranchising other women, but the man want to be a woman, so the man can trump another woman who's biologically a woman. You go, girl. And then when women say, hey, we've been disenfranchised in sports, find me a video where she says something positive about that. You ain't going to find it. But listen to what she got to say. Roll the clip.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, Madam Ranking Member. Here we are today, Republicans who have voted consistently against the Violence Against Women Act, who have taken away the right of all women to choose and have control over their own body, who, as women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country, standing there, allowing us to die, now want to pretend today that they care about women.
Hold on. Can she get sued for this? I mean, is there, like, she should get fired. She should be impeached. I don't know if that's how they do. They impeach them. Ma'am, laying in the parking lot. Who in the parking lot bleeding out? Can you find me a story like it ain't there? Somebody in the parking lot bleeding out because they can't go to Planned Parenthood. You know, if you in the parking lot bleeding out, you probably can go to the medical facility because you're now in a medical emergency. And they're going to do what they can to save your life. What are you talking about? The only women that have died because they didn't have access is because one of them didn't get any care at all and took the pill from the house, which that's why he shouldn't have that pill in the first place. She did it and then go see a doctor. The other girl did the same thing, and then she had complications and she couldn't make it to the hospital fast enough. That ain't got nothing to do with it. And then she go take away women's reproductive rights. No, they didn't. They said it's not constitutionally protected federally. It's up to the states. And in your state and in all the other states, Y'all can go and do it as long as you want, as many times as you want. What are y'all talking about? Just flat out lying. Roll the clip.
And why? To open up gender and, yes, genital examinations into little girls in this country in the so-called name of attacking trans girls. And to that, today, what we have to say are 2 words: not today. The majority right now says there's no place in this bill that says it opens up for genital examinations. Well, here's the thing. There's no enforcement mechanism in this bill. And when there is no enforcement mechanism, you open the door to every enforcement mechanism.
Hold on. There is an enforcement mechanism. It's not that you're going to get a little girl and pull her pants down and say, are you a boy or girl? It's that you have something called a birth certificate. Oh, yeah, a birth certificate. And therefore, if you're a boy, you're a boy. Now, this is the thing. It's going to be self-reporting as well. Not self-reporting, it's going to be peer reporting. Because if a girl is in the locker room and another person who purports to be a girl pull a thing out, the penis comes out, then somebody going to say, hey, that ain't a girl. What is he doing in here? Roll the clip, Nick. I got another one after this, and I'm going to tell you why these people are sick and evil. And secretly, they want pedophilia to be a thing. They want your kids to get manipulated. They have a sexual deviancy and a fetish for this stuff. I'm going to show you why I say that after this clip. Roll it.
Girls are girls. And for all the folks that are so concerned, thank you for your concern about women for the first time that I've seen. I don't know about y'all. I don't know who's been to gym class lately, but girls, even if you only believe in 2 genders, I've played co-ed sports all the time. But what this also opens the door for
Not in the locker room.
is for women to try to perform a very specific kind of femininity for the very kind of men who are drafting this bill, and to open up questioning of who is a woman because of how we look, how we present ourselves, and yes, what we choose to do with our bodies.
Ooh.
I know who loves this bill.
I'm finna roast.
Yes, bigoted folks love this bill.
I'm finna roast.
Assaulters love this bill. But also, CEOs love this bill. Because Los Angeles is on fire right now.
Ooh.
And this is the #1 priority this majority has. Thank you, and I yield back.
Ooh. I'm finna start roasting. Put your seatbelt on, get your popcorn ready. Hope your life insurance is all up to date. I'm finna start roasting. First and foremost, she invoked the fact that she said CEOs and corporations love this. No, CEOs and corporations don't care about women. That's why they will pay for you to get rid of your kids so you can take your ass back to work. They will fly you to another state so you can get rid of your kid so you can come back and work for them and make them money. They don't care nothing about you. They'd rather do that than pay you maternity leave. But you silly women think that you're winning. My company is progressive. They willing to pay for this if I'm just busting it open for any given dude that I don't plan on being with because I'm a, you know what, I get pregnant, I'm gonna go and I can do that. No, they don't care about you. They looking at a money thing. They pay $1,200 so they have to pay you $30,000 while you're on paternity leave. That's why they doing it. Then go back to her talking about women or the Republicans first time caring about women. Last time I checked, the Republicans are the ones that voted for women to have rights to vote unanimously, not the Democrats. Then they go to caring about women creating this fictitious image of what a woman is for Republicans. Now, y'all the one doing that. Because now a man can define what a woman is by saying, I'm a woman now because I have XYZ. I'm a woman now because my hair long. That's all it takes to be a woman. Women, y'all have no substance to you according to them. Because the only thing that make you a woman is external. Come on, I'm preaching. Somebody get the offering plate. Only thing that make the Democrats got you voting for them, and they can't tell you what a woman is, but they let a deranged man decide what a woman look like and her value based on external things only. Because if he got fake breasts in, he got long hair, shave his legs or something, he should be identified as a woman. And he can't have no kids. He don't have estrogen in his body like a woman do. He ain't had no experiences that a woman has had. He ain't got to bleed every month. He don't have menopause. but he get to be a woman. How convenient. How convenient that you can just be a woman because you grow your hair out or put a wig on. How convenient that you can just be a woman because you feminize your voice. How convenient. And many of y'all transitioning when you 30. So you had an opportunity to live the life of a man for 30 years. And after you done soaked up all that joy and getting the respect that a man get, now you want to be a woman. But you didn't have to be a woman when you were a girl and you needed somebody to look out for you and protect you, did you? You didn't have to be a woman when you first had hormones, got acne on your face, and people making fun of you. And then you got, you're bleeding every month. You don't know what's going on. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to go through that. You didn't have to go through mood swings every month. I don't know how women do it. They get cramps in their stomach and they stuff cramping up and they mad at you and they don't know if they like ice cream today or they want a hot toddy. Then they have babies. Do you know what? Have you ever seen a baby born? Have you ever seen a woman pregnant? No, not on TV. Have you ever been with a woman? Have you ever been with a woman first trimester, second trimester, third trimester? Huh? 4 weeks, 20 weeks, 30 weeks, whatever you want to call it. Have you been there? Have you watched the baby come out? Okay, shut the front door. If you ain't doing that, you ain't got the ability to do that, you ain't a woman. You may want to be a woman. You may feel like you're a woman. You may want to dress up like a woman. That's fine. You live in America. But at the end of the day, you ain't a woman. You ain't never going to be a woman. Because a woman ain't made up of because she got a dress on. Because she paint her fingernails. Let me tell you what, my mama ain't my mama because she got long hair. It's something about innately that God has created something special in a woman. The nurturing abilities of a woman can't be fabricated through taking hormones. It can't be fabricated because you got breast implants, because you got it cut off and flipped over and tucked in. That ain't going to make you have special instincts that God has given a woman. And I'm not mad at you. I hope you do whatever you want to do to make you happy. But quit trying to get into women's spaces and dominate them and make them feel bad and gaslight them because you struggling. 4,500 women, one person struggling, every woman got to be subject to this one person. I said this 400 million times. They should have never let Leah Thomas in their locker room. The man allegedly still is attracted and having sex with women. Now, how y'all let him in the locker room and he's still smashing women? And you think he see Riley Gaines naked and they don't do nothing for him? Come on, man. Come on, Nick. Tell him to stop it. Tell him to get out of here. Let that man in there getting his rocks off in the locker room. He probably him and Hannah probably having a good time. Left Hannah. I don't know if it's left Hannah or right Hannah. With them images that he got stained in his mind in a locker room full of fine women. And that's what he liked. He liked that before he was trans, and then when he was trans, he's still messing with him. I'm just saying, man, I just get so bothered with this stuff because it's such common sense. It's like, why can't human beings have common sense? Man, if you got a person who want to transition, you say, look, man, I don't think it's fair to the women because look at what your stats were when you were a man swimming. Okay, you're taking hormones now, but it reduced your strength by what, a small percent? When you go out there in the pool right now, you're breaking the world record right now. That don't seem fair. So let's just hold off on this for a minute. Now let's talk about the locker room. So you think you're going to go in the locker room and change and put your penis out in front of these girls? Well, let me do a survey and see how many girls are okay with that. Oh, none of them are okay with it. Hey, bruh, I'm sorry. I get it. You need to go to counseling. You may want to transition, but you can't play sports until we figure this out. Because this right here don't make no sense for me to let you in there with them girls like that. I don't know what your motive is, and I can't ask you. I can't ask you who you want to sleep with at night. Because if you say I want to sleep with girls, that definitely ain't the right place to put you at. Come on, bro. Have they ever sat down and thought, why is it only men going into women's sports that they dominating it? It's never men. It's never women going into men's sports. Why don't women that transition to men in the locker rooms and stuff? Yeah, go in the locker room with a vagina if you want to. Go in there with a vagina if you want to. I hope they let him go to jail with the vagina. Come on, let the one that's trying to be a man, boy, they'll have a fit. They be running through you. Let you go into a man's jail with a vagina. You're gonna be the prized possession up in there. Them men ain't seen a vagina since the last time they had a dream. And you got a vagina running around talking about you a man. They ain't looking at you, they no man. They see a vagina, they gonna get you. Because you know why they gonna get you? Because they get men in there. They ain't had women long. They go for the men. I don't know what they be telling themselves. They close their eyes, act like it's a woman. Especially if you a woman, they finna get you. Go on in there, let them in there. Let them in there. Because the woman transitioning into a man ain't safe. Because she's still a woman. And she can't fight and defend for herself at all. Let them on in there since they want to be that way. Y'all never do that because they are vulnerable. But you'll let the man go in a woman's bathroom because he ain't vulnerable. Leah Thomas could take all those girls. They can't fight and beat him in any fight. Let me play Riley Gaines real quick because she's a pioneer. She's going to go down in history. Y'all know how y'all look back, you see Martin Luther King and all this other stuff, Rosa Parks or whatever. Riley Gaines is going to be the woman that is going to go down in history as she fought for women's rights in sport. She will go down in history. And it's funny because 50, 60 years now, I don't know what picture's going to look like. Because 50, 60 years ago, pictures were black and white. People are like, dang, that's old. Now, what is this going to look like? Is it going to look like we old? I don't know. Roll the clip.
I'm a former collegiate swimmer from the University of Kentucky. First, and let me echo Speaker Johnson's gratitude for the people who stand alongside me, behind me, their leadership on this issue, how they have stood firm, the flack that you all have taken. I know it's not easy, but nonetheless, it's necessary, and I would argue that it's urgent, and so I thank you all. And I'm thrilled with the passage of H.R. 28, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, but truthfully, I'm mad. I'm mad that this is something we have to do. I'm mad that we as women have to beg for equal rights. I'm mad that we have to beg for privacy in areas of undressing. And I'm mad that we have to beg for safety on the court or on the field or walking in the streets at night for that matter. Here's some of the things. Let's just go through a couple of the things we heard on the House floor today from Democrats. We heard of things like genital exams. We heard that girls will be asked to show what's in their underwear. We heard that they have to show internal and external anatomy, inspections, Taliban-like enforcers, hire predators to peek at girls, on and on and on. Weird fear-mongering about predators. But that's what Democrats do best. If you don't know what they're up to, just look at what they're accusing the right of. There have only been a few girls. Another thing they said, there's only a few girls who have been injured at the hands of a boy. It's such a small percentage. I heard that this bill is a waste of time. And let me tell you the message I received when I heard that, is that I'm a waste of time. Girls around the country, just like me, are a waste of time. Your daughters are a waste of time to all House Democrats except the two who voted in favor of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. But to Speaker Johnson's point, the American people spoke on November 5th. The common sense, everyday Americans who intuitively know that men and women are different. We reject this notion. While I certainly believe people turned out to the polls to embrace Donald Trump, to embrace his cabinet picks, to embrace the America First agenda, more so, truthfully, I believe that people turned out to the polls on November 5th to reject absurdity. And that is entirely and thoroughly what the Democratic Party has become, absurd. Whether it's feeling like you have to refer to Latino individuals as Latinx, believing that men can become women, believing that men can breastfeed, believing that tampons belong in boys' bathrooms, entirely and thoroughly absurd. I'm here today for one reason. Of course, I'm not here to speak on the policy, anything like that. I'm here to debunk every single thing you heard from the House Democrats today. I'm here to tell you that this isn't a hypothetical situation. No, it's reality. My story by now is seemingly well known, so I won't get into it. I could spend hours sharing the feelings and the emotions, the specifics behind watching a man steal a woman's national title, the feelings of humiliation and violation of having to strip down to nothing, fully unclothing yourself inches away from where a 6'4" man simultaneously fully exposed himself, stripping down to nothing, exposing his male genitalia non-consensually, might I add, which we used to properly label as some form of voyeurism or sexual harassment, indecent exposure. Now it's seemingly celebrated. Last fall, leading up to the election, the independent women launched the Riley Gaines Stand With Women scorecard. It was a first-of-its-kind resource that tells Americans who stands with women and who does not. The scorecard had a pivotal impact, delivering a 90% win rate for those who were Riley Gaines approved. I was honored to put my name to such a significant effort. No more hiding behind these phrases and taglines that the Democrats use, saying they're for women's rights. Go back and look at who voted in support of the Laken Riley Act. Look at who voted in support of protecting women and girls in sports. And if they were no on one or both, then they do not get to say they support women. Men do not belong in women's sports. And with the House passage of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, we are one step closer as a nation to making sure that not one more male athlete is able to take a trophy, a roster spot, playing time, resources, or an opportunity to compete from a woman. The American people, again, we believe that women's sports are for women. I cannot believe we have to say this, but unfortunately we do. It matters. Last thing I'll say, if you're curious how your representative voted, your senator, any federal elected official, how well they stand with women, you can check that out at RileyGainesScorecard.com.
Love it. I hope that's her daddy and mama. I don't know. I never met them. But like, if I was her daddy, woo! I'd have probably went to jail at least once. Leah Thomas on the stage and my daughter in second place. I'm finna go up there. Get him off there. Get him off there or I'm gonna get him off there. How y'all wanna do this? Because I ain't got no time to play no games with y'all. That's my baby. Like, I got boys. I don't have a daughter. I'd probably be all messed up if I had a daughter. My boys can't do you got my boys are tough and I let them be tough, but you ain't gonna disrespect my son and think daddy ain't finna come flying. Because I gotta show my son that daddy got my back no matter what. Y'all don't play with my sons. And if I had a daughter, I'd probably be worse. My daughter crying to me, Daddy, hey, my son. He get on my nerves sometimes, but he come crying, Daddy. Oh, I can't. Well, where I need to go, son? Who gonna get it? Then when my son tell me, Daddy, I love you. Oh, it's over. It's over. If I had a daughter, I'd probably cry and melt down or something. Anyway, last thing, because this is consistent with what I've been saying when it comes to the pedophilic actions of these leftist Democrats. So the Pulitzer Prize winner, Washington Post cartoonist and Trump hater, Darren Bell, was arrested for AI child corn, if you know what I'm saying. So let me just give a brief synopsis of the investigation. It says investigators discovered 134 videos of child sexual abuse material linked to an online account owned and controlled by Bell, who made this about Trump. Ain't it funny? They got the most to say about, and look what this fool doing. He want to write this about Trump, and look what he doing. Why you do that when you be writing cartoons about yourself? That's according to the Latin Times. The investigation also uncovered computer-generated or AI-created child, you know what, in Bell's possession. Also, according to the Latin Times, The case marked the first arrest in Sacramento County since the enactment of a law on January 1st, 2025, criminalizing the distribution of AI-generated child material. This guy, I don't really care much about his professional background. He obviously hated Trump. Bail is being held in Sacramento County Main Jail with bail set at $1 million. His initial court appearance is scheduled for January 17, 2025. These allegations have significant implications, especially considering Bell's prominent role in the editorial cartooning community and his outspoken criticism of political figures like Donald J. Trump. Like, I'm trying to be compassionate. I've been reading this book, and it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And one part of the book says that you shouldn't be name calling people. You don't want to argue with people and have conflict. You want to kind of play the gray area and be compassionate, lest people not be compassionate to you. But I can't help but point out that if you're going to be so vitriolic against Donald Trump, which we all know is foolish, because if you ever read any book, you know Trump is not a bad guy, and not the bad as they make him out to be. But yet you are consuming yourself with illegal child material that you knowingly and intentionally possess and or created. Like, how do you sleep at night knowing you're bashing them and doing this on the side? Especially because it's illegal. Now, if you were doing something legal and it was just kind of icky, you know what I mean? Like you're in a bondage or something weird. I don't know what else people, they got stuff where people poo-poo on each other or something. You into that, balloon popping. I think I saw this show, I don't know, it was like 15 years ago, where people get off on popping balloons. People be doing too much. They getting off. They got a room full of balloons. They popping them. Popping balloons. I say, God, I know you up there just shaking your head at these crazy people. But anyway, you bashing Trump. But here's a video of this guy. Roll the clip.
So they probably feel like they're on their own. You know, they're surrounded by a sea of white boys in particular, because they're like probably the loudest ones, but white girls too, who were raised in the age of Trump. Mm-hmm. And they don't really feel ashamed to be racist anymore. And, you know, when I was growing up, I thought that this was moving in just one trajectory. People were gonna be more and more ashamed of being racist until they would hide it so much that they wouldn't pass it down to their children, and then racism would be gone.
It is.
Mm-hmm. That's not what happened at all.
Right.
Exactly what happened.
It wasn't just Trump. I mean, white supremacists all over the country lost their damn minds when Obama was elected.
Mm-hmm.
And they started coming out of the woodwork then. And they found their champion in Donald Trump. He didn't create it. He just harnessed it. Hold
on. First of all, you need to do a podcast on child porn that you involved in. Here's the other thing. White supremacists were. Barack Obama was a 2-term president. We all know that black people don't have enough power to vote a person in office. So that means if black people voted 100% for a Democrat, they still need an overwhelming majority of of white people to make that Democrat win an election. We saw this year, black women voted like 98% or something crazy for Kamala Harris, and she lost by one of the worst victories of a Democrat in the history of this country. So black people don't have power in voting that much anyway. So quit being silly and lying and talking about white supremacists were mad when Barack Obama was a 2-term president, voted for primarily and majority by white people. What are you even saying, bro? Finish the clip.
It was like he used it as fuel in a blowtorch and set fire to America with it. and that fire's spreading all over the place. They're passing laws and regulations against people, against diversity, against books like mine being in school libraries.
You mean your AI?
They've come right out and said that keeping white kids from feeling guilty is more important than us being able to tell our truths. It's more important than our experiences. And instead,
I think, how much time on that clip? Let him finish.
Instead of rectifying decades and centuries of anti-Black discrimination, it's easier to just brush it under the rug and not only not talk about it, but to make it seem like it's a taboo to talk about it.
He probably got 1 second if I can't handle it. Can somebody go put his picture up? How many of y'all want to bet me that one of his parents is white? That fool got green eyes, and he about as light as that piece of paper back there, that hand back there. That's Manila, right? That's a Manila piece of paper back there. Bro, you almost the color this paper over here. He mixed. Black people ain't got curly hair like that. You mixed, brother. Your mama or your daddy is white. Why do people feel the need to get so deep in the racial conflict when they are themselves raised and supported and by white people? Colin Kaepernick is another one. You so attached to your black side, but your black side ain't attached to you. They left you at the dry. The white people came, picked you up, and raised you. This man, mama, probably a good woman and raised him with good morals. And the white side of his family loved him and treated him with respect and dignity. And that's they baby. But for some reason, the victimhood pill that they ingest make them feel as if they have to be a victim no matter what. It's almost like, you know how the cream rises to the top? It's like the lowest common denominator rise to the top. Instead of embracing the fact that you're biracial and all the opportunities you have, you got to go find what you believe is the worst in you, or what you believe is the victim in you, and bring him to the forefront. So the perpetuation of your existence is the victim in you, not the victor in you. Don't get it. I don't get it, man. If people like the color of me or darker, that both parents are black, if they had a qualm about this stuff, it's still stupid, but it'll make a little more sense than a person whose mama is white or dad is white. I know a whole bunch of mixed families, and I'm like, why his daddy don't get no credit? Or why his mama don't get no credit? Like she don't exist. Like both of my kids are biracial, 2 different mamas. I wish it wasn't that way, but I have to be honest. I had a kid in college. I love my kid to death. I love my kid to life. Let me say it like that. But his mama don't, my children's mothers don't deserve any credit. You know, grandparents, although I may have disagreed with one of my son's grandparents along the way, and we not always got along, but how is it justifiable that I were to act as if they had no part in his life? He has a whole side of white people, a whole lineage, cousins, grandma, grandpa. I mean, a whole family. His mama had other siblings, all his uncles and aunts, his grandmother, his second cousins, and great grandpa. I mean, he didn't know his grandpa, but I met his great grandpa. I mean, his grandpa. Oh, great grandpa. It was his great grandpa. I remember he said the word Negro. I was in the kitchen. He had man in me, no harm. He was old, man. Back in the day, Negro was a thing. He said colored. Oh my God, I'm gonna send super chats after this. I gotta tell y'all that story real quick. We were sitting in the living. They had a timeshare or something out here in Scottsdale. Or they had an apartment. I don't know. So my son's mom at the time, she wanted me to go and meet them. You know what I mean? So I was there. I met them, and you know I'm cool. I get along with anybody. And he really liked me. I could tell he really liked me. So he's talking to me a lot. He felt very comfortable with me. And he go, and I'm sitting in the living room with him. We talking. She's in the kitchen. And the kitchen got a little opening where you could just look through it. When you look through, I see her face, right? I see her in there. And me and him talking, chopping it up. He tell me about when he was in school and everything. He go, yeah, and you know, I went to a school and we had a lot of colors at our school. And I said, I tried not to laugh at him. I was like, yeah. And I looked over and she was in the kitchen window and she was like this. And I'm like, I know the guy he's like 70-some years old. Back then, he'd been like 90-something today. He's 70-some years old, man. Back then, colored and Negro was a thing. And the guy loved me. We were talking about football and everything. So I know he wasn't mean to me, but it was hilarious. She said, oh my God. He said, colored. And he said, yeah. And he said, the color, we had coloreds. We had Mexican, we had whites, we had everybody. We were a very diverse school when I was growing up. And I couldn't believe that was the funniest. And to this day, I still remember his face and him telling me that. And he was a great man. I mean, I don't know if he was a great man. I liked him. He was a good man to me. And then I'll give y'all another scenario because her, and then I'm gonna do the super chats. She got embarrassed with that scenario, and then I got embarrassed at my house. Because I was in the NFL draft and we threw a draft party at my house. And one of my aunties and her boyfriend, they about as high as I wouldn't say a kite don't go high enough. They're about as high as Elon Musk. What's the thing he got? I forget what that thing called that he got flying up in the sky. No. What's the thing that do the satellites? No. That he give you to get the internet. Remember we were gonna try to get the internet. Starlink. They were about high as Starlink. I call them Starlink. So my auntie, cause you know she white and everybody black. So she's sticking out like a sore thumb because she's 6'3". And she a big old blonde haired white girl and everybody black. So everybody nice to her, but my auntie come over there. She's not my aunt, she's my great aunt. She come over there and she and her boyfriend high. And they literally looked at her and started talking to her and nothing came out. They were looking at her, they said, and I'm like, what? And I know they high on that crack. His teeth missing and everything. I'm like, God dang. You couldn't wait till after this to get high. But I've been around them my whole life, so I wouldn't really, I know that's what they do. I think they sober now, I guess. I don't know. But when I saw it, I said, God dang, now I had my face looking like, they not even talking. They're not even saying nothing. They babbling. They think they really talking to her. I hope they end the conversation soon. Anyway, let's get these super chats. Let's see. Dog Mama for life. Counting down 4 more days. Yeah, I'm going to be at the inauguration. Hopefully we have a good time. It's supposed to be colder than a mother. All right. Let's see. Hey, really respect you and your videos. I've recently turned to Christ. Thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate it. I need to do a Bible study, man. I want people that come to Christ and get to know Christ for real. To do a podcast? I might do it, man. I got time. We do this live, and I could just do a Christian whenever, once a week. One of the best books I've read to help myself was What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. That's probably a really good book. There's another one that I saw that I'm going to read. It's like, Don't Always Believe What You Think. And then, what's another one? It's one that's called Emotional Intelligence. or Emotionally Intelligent. It's one something like the big old book like this I found in the airport. Great book on emotional intelligence. I just finished reading the book Unrealistic Hospitality. Unreasonable. I always want to say unrealistic. It's Unreasonable Hospitality. Incredible book. I really like that book. And then now I'm reading the other one. But books like that about the mind, I think that's good. Tin Man says, Slow Mo Joe has got to go. All right. Let's see. Dog Mom, thanks so much for another super chat. Your dog saved you in that time without your son. Dogs is God's spelled backwards. It is, actually. Just saying, my favorite poem, Footprints in the Sand, when you thought you were alone, it was then that God carried you. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that poem. That actually made me cry when I read that poem. That was like a beautiful plot twist. But some of you guys that don't know, my dog, I think, did save my life. Because, and I'm going to tell you how I got the dog real quick. I'll try to make it fast. I was on a call, a police call. I was on duty, working the day shift because my son was with me. I was working the day shift because they let me work the day shift when my son visited me, when he was, when I had my custodial time, which was good that the police department did that for me because working night shifts was a nightmare with a kid. So I went to this house. It was domestic violence. It ended up being nothing. They ended up arguing. There was no evidence of anything. And, we pretty much told them, y'all need to separate if y'all can't get along. But this big old dog, he was a Mastiff Shepherd mixed. He was big old dog in a cage. Beautiful dog. One of the most beautiful dogs you'll see. And he was just barking, rah, 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 rah. And when they had a baby that crawled on the ground, they would come and he'll lick the baby's hand. And he was like, oh, he's not violent or nothing towards the kids. He's just, my ex or girlfriend or whatever would lock him in the cage all day because she didn't like him. So she'd lock him in the cage while I'm at work all day. And he's like, he was just saying that. And I was like, man, I always wanted a big dog. I just threw it out there. He go, you can have him, man. I can't take care of him no more. And I'm like, wait a minute, bro. I ain't never had a dog this big. And I was just saying, how am I going to take the dog? And my partner that was with me, I forget his name now, but if I saw his face, I remember. He was like, oh, that's your dog, B. It's already in. God already showed me. It's already your dog. It's your dog. What you gonna name him? He was just egging me on. And so then he said, think about it. So when I left, he gave me his number and I called him and I was off the next day and I went and picked Phineas up. And he was dusty, hair, he was shaking, hair flying everywhere in the sky. He gets in my car. My girlfriend at the time was crying because she was afraid of him. Because he was so wild. When he got out, he was jumping on me. He jumped, his face hit my face. And she was like scared of him. And I just knew he was a good dog. I just knew it. I just thought he was just so excited to get out that cage. And man, I had Phineas until he became a blessing for somebody else. Because I couldn't keep him because I was traveling too much. So I gave him to my wife's best friend. And now he fat. And now I'm sad. I don't want to know when he died. But Phineas used to be with me Phineas slept in the bed with me every night. He was always my best friend. When I was struggling without my son, and as a cop, I was struggling a little bit. There was times when I see stuff and I just, it would just bother me sometimes. And I didn't really realize that Phineas was just happy. His happiness and him being there all the time really kept me from going too low. And Phineas was my favorite, man. I named him after Phineas in the Bible in Numbers 25. Not Phineas and Ferb, but Phineas in the Bible. Numbers 25, I named him after Phineas. Okay, Running, thanks so much for the super chat. Assaulters hate this bill because they are the men playing women to beat up on women because they are insecure as men and weak as F with low T. Yeah, I agree. Coach Keith, they are demon rats. I missed it. Demon rats. Okay, get it. Demonic rats. Let's see. Do you think Google shows a true depiction of someone's net worth? Congratulations on your bag and with your oldest son. I know that's a blessing. Well, let me just say this, and I ain't gonna never lie to you guys because I don't like people that's all secretive and stuff. I'll just say this without disclosing my net worth. because it's really hard to judge my net worth, to be honest, because there's no real, these people don't do no studies on what properties you own or anything like that. But I can say that some of them that are very close and very accurate. Some of them are completely off. So I will say, if you go and search my net worth somewhere, it's pretty close. Some sites are pretty close. And I'm only saying that because I'm giving people, I want to give people hope to what's possible. And I'll tell you this, there's guys that I've mentored that do YouTube, and some of y'all watch them. They are also doing very well on social media, and they've been able to branch it out to doing other greater things. I wish that when they give somebody's net worth, they also give how much they give back, because we give back so much, and we give so much to employees, we give so much to charity, and so it's a lot of giving back that goes along with that too. And so, anyway, it's a blessing. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. Some people be fake to y'all. Oh, no, man, I don't want to tell. I hate that. I ain't gonna lie. I hate that, bro. I hate when people are too good to tell the truth. I know that I may get in trouble with some people. Some people may not like it, but I work hard. I've been consistent for years. I built something. I've taken chances, taken risks. I lost a lot. I've gained a lot. And when you work hard and you don't give up, there's a blessing on the other side of it. And you just can't give up on your dreams. Anyway, and you got to do well with what God gives you, and he'll give you more. I have a girl, and I wish MF would. I know, right? And tell me about it. Let's see. What advice would you give a newlywed? Big fan. Listen, your marriage is about her. And when I say her, what can you do for your wife? How can you please your wife in any way possible, whether that's through love, whether that's through attention, whether that's through gifts, whatever her love language is. Your priority is not what she can do for you, but what you can do for her. That your marriage will be great. Because what happens is a person is saying, well, she don't do this for me. Well, she don't do this for me. Oh man, I wish she would do this. It's like, well, wait a minute. Are you doing everything you can do? Because sometimes when you do all what you're doing, that make her want to do something for you. I'm telling you, my wife probably treats me the way she do because she is a very generous and kind woman. She's the greatest woman in the world to me. I mean, overall, she's the greatest woman in the world, I think. She got a little bit of everything that she does very, very well. She's compassion, loving, great mom. I mean, she's got everything. I'm so glad that God gave me a wife like that. So, you know, when it comes down to it, I look at it and say, if my wife feels safe, if I give my wife room to express herself, if I'm showing my wife attention, if you know, and I work hard every day, and so she can have somebody to be proud of, because she know I'm not going to messing around all day. I'm working, I'm accomplishing things, I'm a good father. When I do that for my wife, she don't mind making the bed every day. She don't mind cooking me food. My wife don't question nothing I do. She don't question nothing I do, because she trusts me. Why? Because I've given her a reason to trust me. When you do stuff for your wife and it's your dedicated purpose, your wife will give back in return. If you're with a woman that you only giving and she don't give back, then there's a problem. But don't look for someone you ain't gave nothing. Somebody said you can't get the results for work you didn't put in. You can't get love from a woman in ways you didn't give. Anyway, thank you for that. That's all I'm saying. And then I'll tell you this, newlyweds. Maybe when you were younger, before you were saved, you may, when you married, things change. And you have to understand, when you have kids and your wife's pregnant and she get the kid, you ain't the priority for a minute. Just know that. And it's okay. You will get through it. Every man goes through it, right? You ain't the priority for a minute there. And I'm talking about, y'all men know what I'm talking about. You think you finna be like you was when y'all they had no kids. Hey, babe, what's up? You look good. Come on over here. Nah, it's crying and spitting and throwing up. Baby crying and she mad. Mood swings. You finna, or you just hold on, brother. It's gonna be all right. Stay faithful. It's gonna be okay. Because I know a lot of men, and I talk to a lot of men about this. Well, not a lot of men about this. I talk to other men about this a lot. And all men have the same conclusion. It's like, and you can see people do memes online about it too. Like men, they got their mind laser focused. Women, they thinking about something else. So don't think your wife don't love you no more. She not attracted to you, nothing like that. You just got to understand she got a lot going on her mind when she had kids. So when you have fun, travel, have kids, understand that give your wife some space to have for the baby to be priority, and then you can come back to the house after that, if you know what I'm talking about. All right. Just cool, super chat. Let's see. Super smart commentary with Jesus Christ woven in. I appreciate that. That's kind of my life, right? I think that's about my life. I got a super cool life with Jesus Christ being the woven part. Let's say, reading Genesis, whoa, not what I was expecting. Is that what it says? Yeah. Reading Genesis, not what I was expecting. I'm going to say this and I'm going to end the live stream. Where we at? About an hour in? 50? Oh, wow. We're almost 2 hours in. I'm going to say this real quick. The gentleman, Jeff, said, thank you for the super chat, said, reading Genesis is not what I expected. Let me tell you something, y'all. If you go to church, you say you're a Christian and you don't read the Bible, it's not what you think it is, to a certain degree. When you read Matthew, Jesus is not as nice as they try to make him out to be. I think overall he's a good man. He got good principles, and he's generally fair. But Jesus wasn't weak, and he wasn't just letting people do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, Jesus would get rejected. They would call Jesus legalistic if he went to church today. They would exile Jesus. Half of y'all wouldn't even go to his church. I'm telling you, Jesus was kind of like when I read the Bible and I read Matthew and Jesus started laying down these things, I feel some type of way. Like, dang, man, I'm really cutting up. And like Jesus ain't giving you no ultimatum. Like, oh well, if you listen, like let me say this, Nick. I'm gonna be done. Let me say this. I think this is Christians. If Christians knew this, Jesus isn't this do whatever you want to do and you'll be forgiven type of when you read what he say, it doesn't seem like people make that the case. But Jesus was pretty firm in the things that he was saying. And there was places in which there was grace, but there was also places when there was a non-negotiable. And there's a lot of non-negotiables that we call grace now, but Jesus never said that. Jesus never said that. When you talk about sinning, and the one thing that Jesus said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Like, this is something that I think that Christians often fail at, because our churches lie to us because they want us to feel good about the mess we in instead of us getting out the mess. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Now, if you don't keep the commandments, what does that mean? That means you don't love me. That's what Jesus said. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. What does that mean? That means if you love me, you'll do as I ask you to do. Because if you don't do what I ask you to do, that means you don't love me. Because love is not a word. Love is an action. Faith is not a word. Faith is an action. God told you to start that business. Good. You got faith that God told you to do it. But if you don't go start an LLC, if you don't go get the building, if you don't go buy the inventory, if you don't hire the employees, you don't really have faith that God told you to do that, and quit lying to yourself. Nowadays, faith is the mental, cognitive thought process, and they call that faith. You have faith in Jesus Christ? Raise your hand and say, I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I have faith. That's a word. Good job. That's a good start. But if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. If you have true faith, you will live according to what Jesus told you to do, because you have faith that although it gets tough, although it gets rough, although you lose friends, that you have a better life on the other side. That's what faith is. Faith is not a mental thought. It begins with a thought, and it results in validation through an action. Okay, Nick, I'm done. I got 1 minute. No, I got 1 minute. Hold on. I got to give you a scripture because, you know, people think I'm making this up. James. Let's go to James. James, I think 2:24. Am I on the wrong scripture? Hold on. Y'all, hold on a second. Okay, all right, I'm in the right vein. There we go. James 2. Oh, let's go up a little bit. James 2:14. I'm going to read this to you because people like to read, but they don't like to read the whole thing. I'm going to read it to you. 2:14 through 26. And it's only for the people that want to hear this, okay? Faith without works is dead. What good is it, my brother, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? Come on, I'm finna keep up with me. If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. I'm telling you right now, there's people that go to church right now, and you know your pastor tell you that you only need to, you saved by grace alone through faith alone. But they don't tell you that faith without works is dead. Let's continue. But someone will say, "You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one, you do well. Even the demons believe and shiver." Shudder is what it says in the ESV. Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless? Now he gives you an example. Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? You see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works. And the scripture was fulfilled that says Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him righteousness, and he was called a friend of God. You see that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone. And in the same way was not also Rahab, the prostitute, justified by works when she received the messengers and sent them out by another way. For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm finna get off here. I guess I got a meeting to go to. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Faith without works is dead. I read it. If you want to know the scripture, it's James 14. Okay, let me say that again. James chapter 2, verses 14 through 26. I want everybody to read that tonight. James 2, verses 14 through 26. Read that, because it's not only invaluable in the spirit realm, it's invaluable in life. Faith without works is dead. If you believe God is going to keep your marriage, what are you doing about it? If you believe God is going to deliver you, what are you doing in preparation? If you believe, my mama told me this a long time ago, you want to go to NFL, what team you going to play for? All this other stuff. I said, Mama, you crazy. I'm not even in the NFL. When in reality, Mama was showing me that I thought if you got faith, then your actions is gonna lead you down that path. I appreciate y'all watching. God bless you. God bless America. We out of here.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47